Now let me tell you a grand tale, one that'll make the hairs on your arms stand up. It's about a creature from the deep, dark waters of Ireland, a beast known as the Uisci. That's water horse in the old tongue. At first glance, you might think you've stumbled upon a magnificent, handsome horse, maybe a fine pony that's strayed from a nearby farm. It might be standing there by the shore of a lough, looking all calm and gentle, with a coat as black as a raven's wing or as white as the sea foam itself. It's a beautiful sight, to be sure, one that would tempt any soul. But you'd want to be minding yourself, for this is no ordinary animal. The Uisci is a creature of pure magic and terrible mischief, a shapeshifter of the highest order. It appears harmless, inviting even, just waiting for some unsuspecting person to come along. It might look at you with soft, intelligent eyes, maybe even nuzzle your hand if you get close enough. It's all a trick, you see, a clever ruse to lure you into a false sense of security. It preys on the kindness of strangers and the curiosity of children, using its lovely form as bait for a much darker purpose. The real danger begins the moment you decide to climb upon its back. You might think you're in for a grand ride across the green fields, a bit of an adventure. But once you're settled on that silken coat, a terrible change comes over the creature. Its skin, which felt so smooth and fine, suddenly becomes sticky, like glue. You're trapped, stuck fast to the horse, unable to get off no matter how hard you pull or struggle. You can shout and scream all you want, but there's no escape. Your fate is sealed the second you made that foolish choice. The Uisci is a far more fearsome beast than its cousin, the Kelpie of Scotland, which haunts the running waters of rivers. Our Uisci prefers the still, deep and mysterious waters of the sea loughs and the inland lakes. It is said to be crueler, more savage in its nature. While a Kelpie might just drown its victim, the Uisci has a more gruesome reputation. It is a true monster hidden beneath a beautiful disguise, a reminder that in the old world, not everything that looks fair is good. It's a lesson that was learned the hard way by many a poor soul. The old stories are filled with warnings, passed down from one generation to the next around the peat fires on long winter nights. One popular tale tells of a group of young children, maybe 7 or 8 of them, playing near the shore of a lough. Out of the mist, a lovely, gentle-looking pony appears. Delighted, the children all decide to climb on its back for a bit of fun. The pony's back magically lengthens to make room for every single one of them. They laugh and cheer, completely unaware of the terrible danger they are in, thinking it a grand game. But once the last child is on, the pony's friendly nature vanishes in a flash. Its eyes burn with a cold fire, and it lets out a terrible cry that is not of this world. It turns not towards the fields, but straight for the cold, dark water of the lough. The children scream, they pull, they try to jump off, but they are all stuck fast to its magical adhesive hide. They are completely helpless, passengers on a terrifying journey to their doom. The horse plunges into the depths, taking all but one of the children with it, their laughter replaced by the silent, unforgiving water. In that particular telling, the youngest boy, who was only holding onto the horse's tail, manages to save himself. He had touched the creature with a wet hand, some say, or perhaps he had a charm in his pocket. He sees what is about to happen and in a moment of terror, cuts off his own finger to break free from the sticky trap, tumbling to the ground just as the beast leaps into the lough. He is the only one left to tell the awful story of what became of his friends. It's a grim tale, to be sure, meant to put the fear of God into anyone who would wander too close to the water's edge alone. These encounters were not always so direct. Sometimes the Uisci would take the form of a handsome young man, charming and well-spoken, to lure a young woman away from her village. He would court her and promise her the world, but if she ever discovered his true nature, or if he caught the scent of the sea on her clothes, his monstrous side would be revealed. The stories say the only thing left of the victims would be their liver, found floating on the surface of the water the next day. A terrible, gruesome end for those who were fooled by the creature's clever disguise. The Uisci, you see, was a creature of specific places. It didn't just roam anywhere. Its home was the deep, still and often murky waters of Ireland and the Scottish Highlands. Think of the great sea loughs, where the salt water of the Atlantic pushes its way deep into the land, creating fjords of breathtaking beauty and terrifying depth. Places like Lough Corrib or the deep waters around the coast of Connemara were said to be prime territory for these monsters. The sheer blackness of the water in these loughs was enough to convince anyone that something ancient and powerful lived down below. It wasn't just the sea loughs, mind you. The great inland lakes, the freshwater ones that dot the Irish countryside like dark mirrors reflecting the often grey sky, were also considered lairs for the Each Uishi. These places are often remote, surrounded by bogs and lonely hills, where a person could feel very small and very much alone. The silence in these spots can be deafening, broken only by the lapping of the water against the shore or the cry of a lone bird. It's easy to imagine a magical horse rising from the depths in such a place where the veil between our world and the other world feels thin. The people who lived near these bodies of water had a healthy respect for them, a respect born out of fear. They knew the loch gave them fish to eat and water for their lives, but they also knew it could take everything away in an instant. A sudden storm could whip up the surface and capsize a boat, and who was to say it wasn't the anger of a water horse? These beliefs meant that folks were careful. They wouldn't go swimming alone, and they would certainly never wander near the water's edge after dusk, for that was the time when such creatures were most likely to emerge. This connection to specific locations made the stories feel all the more real. It wasn't just a tale about some far-off monster, it was about the loch just down the lane, the one you had to pass every day. Naming the loch, giving the monster a home, made the warning personal. It transformed a simple folk tale into a genuine local threat, a part of the landscape's own character. The beauty of the water was always there, but beneath it, the stories ensured you never forgot the potential danger that was lurking just out of sight, waiting patiently in the cold, dark depths. So, you have to ask yourself, why were these stories told with such relish, passed down with such urgency? Well, on the simplest level, they were a practical warning, a way for parents to keep their children safe. In a land full of dangerous bogs, deep lakes and unpredictable coastlines, a scary story was a far more effective deterrent than a simple "don't go near the water." The terrifying image of the Each Uishi with its sticky skin and gruesome appetite was enough to keep any sensible child far from the shoreline without adult supervision. It was a life-saving kind of horror story. But there's more to it than just a simple safety lesson. These tales also teach a deeper, more philosophical lesson about the nature of things. The Each Uishi is the perfect symbol of how appearances can be deceiving. It looks beautiful, noble and harmless, but it is a ravenous monster underneath. The stories warn us to be wary of things that seem too good to be true, to look beyond the surface and not be swayed by simple beauty or charm. It's a lesson in caution and wisdom, reminding us to be careful about where we place our trust, whether it's with a strange horse or a handsome stranger. Furthermore, these legends speak to an ancient respect for the power of nature. To the people of Old Ireland, the natural world wasn't just a collection of trees and rivers. It was a living thing, full of spirits and powerful beings. The loughs and seas were wild, untamable forces that could give life but also bring death. The Each Uishi was the personification of that danger, the spirit of the water's dark and unpredictable side. The stories were a way of acknowledging that power and reminding people of their place within the natural order, as small and vulnerable beings in a world of great and ancient magic. And that is why I think the legend of the Each Uishi still holds such fascination for us today. It connects us to a time when the world was seen as a more magical, more mysterious, and frankly, a more dangerous place. The story has everything: beauty, deception, terror, and a valuable lesson. It's a powerful piece of our folklore that reminds us of the wildness that still exists, if not in our loughs, then in the depths of our own imagination. The water horse may not truly be hiding in the lough anymore, but it will forever swim in the deep, dark waters of our stories.